So when I make FIFA content, most of the time it's about, critiquing the game, showing that it's not very good. So, let's take a break from that negativity, let's have some more fun, right? So I'll have you guys just laugh at my pain of being an Arsenal fan. One thing I've learned from not just being an Arsenal fan, but just being a sports fan in general, is to never have hope. Ever. Since being alive, the only time I've watched a favorite team win any type of title was the 2011 Green Bay Packers, and technically the 2023 Nuggets, but I'm not as invested in them. The teams I support really like to either bottle it, like the Packers blowing a 12-point lead with nearly 2 minutes left after forcing 5 turnovers, or they just suck, like the entirety of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. 5 straight losing seasons, baby! Arsenal, though, they're just experts, because at the moment they seem to be doing both. Since Wenger retired, there have not been a lot of good teams, finishing 8th 2 times in a row, with some embarrassing losses along the way. This game made me angry in front of my grandma, man. And then the last 2 seasons consisted of bottling the top 4, and then bottling the league. Again, they just really know how to get it done. But then there's this season, and like I said, it's basically been a combination of the two. Now, I made a video a few months back saying that Arsenal have a chance at the title. Not that they would necessarily win the title over City, because I did believe City would be champions again, but I did say that if any team was going to knock Manchester City off of their podium, it would be Arsenal, or maybe Liverpool as a long shot, stating that Timber would be a vital puzzle piece for Arsenal, and that Liverpool's lack of midfield depth could hurt them. But then 2 days later, Timber tore his ACL, and Liverpool signed 2 midfielders, a quality defensive mid in Endo, and some good depth in Gravenberch. So with that said, I'd like to formally challenge Macwell as the Jinx King. Just get in touch with me, and then we'll see who can jinx the most players and clubs, alright? You could say it was me jinxing Arsenal, having high hopes for them for the first time ever, but Arsenal have also not played very convincing football this season. While there have been a decent amount of good performances thus far, there have only been 4 games that actually reflected that in the scoreline: PSV, Bournemouth, Sheffield United, and Lens. Now again, there have been good performances besides that, like the recent 2-0 win against Brighton or the 2-1 win against Wolves, but those games should have been done and dusted by halftime. Now, a lot of issues have been addressed over the past few seasons. We've been more defensively sound, conceding the second least amount of goals in the league so far this year. There have been fewer mental errors than in previous seasons. They, definitely still happen, but they're happening less. We've gotten more squad depth over the years. We've cleared out a lot of deadwood from the squad, and we're finally back in the Champions League again. Unfortunately, there is still one absolutely massive issue that is yet to be addressed: a complete and ruthless forward. One of the main reasons I said City would win the title and not Arsenal is because, one, I figured we'd regress a little bit playing in the Champions League and we'd have less chances to rotate. I mean, hell, Rob Holding started 6 of the 8 Europa League games last year. The bigger reason, though, is because we did not sign a prolific forward that we desperately needed. I wasn't necessarily upset by that, and I understood why we didn't get a striker, seeing as though we went all out for Declan Rice, who I think's been Arsenal's best player so far this season. But that doesn't mean it wouldn't be a problem, and using the eye test along with some various statistics, you can see that that's backed up. Arsenal do miss some big chances. The games against Aston Villa and West Ham show that, but statistically, we are missing about 50% of the big chances presented to us, while teams like Manchester City and Liverpool are missing about 55 to 63% respectively. So converting the big chances isn't as big of a problem as we really think, although we really do just choose the worst times to miss them, but rather it's the number of big chances that we just get and the number of big chances that we actually create. Arsenal are only 8th in terms of big chances created and only 7th in big chances overall. One of the reasons for that is because Arsenal are completely stagnant in the attack, having not really any different options on the bench to bring on. Now, we all know that some games will require different skill sets. For example, Zinchenko is obviously very good in possession-heavy matches where we can dominate the ball, but against teams who can actually attack or who have a good winger, he gets eaten alive, so a better option would be Tomiyasu. It's kind of what we did against Liverpool last year when we played them at home. In the attack, however, we don't have any of those different types of options that we can necessarily start or bring on from the bench. Jesus can twist and turn in a phone booth, while Eddie is a little bit better at running in behind. If one player isn't doing well, we just bring on a slightly worse player who's exactly the same, and it clearly has not helped us. This is where a complete forward can change a few things. Someone who is big, strong, and able to hold up play and feed players like Saka and Martinelli is key, but they must be good in the air because Arsenal love crossing for some reason, as evident by the 82 times we tried to find Jesus' head against West Ham. So having this type of player could potentially help us create just more big chances because that player offers something that no other Arsenal attacker has. But most importantly, they need to be able to finish. Like I said before, while Arsenal's big chance conversion percentage isn't necessarily too bad compared to other top teams, it's the half chances where they really struggle. If you watch Arsenal play, there's no one that really makes the opponent scared when they take a shot that isn't an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. There is not a single ruthless finisher. And if that doesn't tell you that Arsenal need a new striker, what about the fact that Arsenal are more reliant on set-piece goals than virtually any other team in the Premier League? Now listen, I'm all for set-piece goals, alright? Seeing defenders score is hilarious because their celebrations are usually stupid since they don't normally score, but Arsenal would be in terrible shape without them. Out of all of the goals Arsenal have scored in the Premier League this season, 30% are from set pieces, scoring a total of 11 of them. As a comparison, they were 4th last year with set piece goals and scored 15, which was only 17% of their goals scored. Okay, yes, again, scoring set-piece goals is good, right? Like I said before, having a threat anywhere on the pitch is very, very good. But there comes a time when you are too reliant on set-piece goals and it becomes a problem. And I'd say that problem is right now, considering only Luton Town have a lower percentage of goals scored from open play. Arsenal score 51% of their goals from open play, which is lower than Crystal Palace, Burnley, Sheffield United, Bournemouth have a better percentage of goals scored from open play and more open play goals scored in general. A complete forward would not only fix the problem of creating chances and finishing half chances, but they would help us with this reliance on set pieces because they would offer us a different type of attack and different types of games. Speaking of set pieces, can anyone explain why Arsenal are terrible at defending them suddenly? They've conceded 6 in the league so far and only conceded 8 last year. What the hell is happening? Now listen, alright, I'm not stupid, okay? I'm not that stupid. I understand strikers like this are very rare, and even if we were to find someone like that in January, their price would be more inflated than Venezuela's economy. Mano, tengo fe, eh? That means Arsenal will most likely not be making any signings in January, at least not any big ticket signings, and so we will have to wait until the summer where they hopefully arrive. So unfortunately, Arsenal's title run is probably done. But even though I had high hopes for them, I never genuinely thought that they could win the title, so at least our hopes are being crushed a little bit earlier this year. That's okay. So, don't mind me. I'm just gonna be vibing here, for the rest of this season and just waiting for Emile Smith-Rowe to get the playing time he deserves.
One eternity later.
Sorry, I don't have an actual skeleton. I hope that picture was okay.